Hello, this is Tom Brevoort. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes. Hello, Looney listeners. Welcome back. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 272, and you are with your High Priest of KHONSHU, Ray and Rebecca. Rebecca, hello.
Hi.
And we
your
are
low
joined-
priest of KHONSHU.
And our low
That actually
priest
should
of
be your
KHONSHU.
absolute title.
I was about to say something
No,
that we,
I was
that
going
we
to say, 'cause
saw
he's got a
recently.
low voice.
Yeah, that's true. Our low priest of KHONSHU, our little Gus.
Lowbrow.
Knol,
We're all lowbrow.
Knol, the Velvet Drape, Looney Tunes. Knol, welcome.
Hello.
And Looney listeners, we are flying high off just watching episodes 1 and 2 of the Disney Plus Moon Knight series starring Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke. You may have heard of it. So this is a little mini discussion. It's spoiler free, so don't worry. We'll drop it just before the show hits. Spoiler free. We've been blessed with these preview screeners, so we've had to sign our life away not to
Thank you, KHONSHU.
not to reveal anything. But we want to give you a gist of it, just so I don't know, to wet your whistle. To see how things are. So we're going to dive straight into it because this is very informal. Again, like Rebecca, myself, and Knol, we're still flying high off the first 2 episodes. I guess overall, I'll start. Rebecca, what do you think? I mean, what do you think of seeing...
I'm still a little bit in shock that we just watched some Moon Knight in live action.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I loved it. I loved it so far. So
yes. And Knol, how about you? Did it meet your expectations? Was there anything kind of glaringly absent or apparent for you?
that you can't.
No.
That you can say.
Yeah, that I can't say. That's because
Yeah.
things I would start to be and then so there's it's laid out so far very well. I really
Yes.
I'm loving it. But as somebody I obviously am very, very, very attached to the comic books, especially the earlier ones.
Mhm.
And it's weirdly very different and weirdly very the same. And
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
I'm just really enjoying the sort of mix up so far that you kind of have to do if you're bringing a comic book to life in this day and age.
Yeah. I mean, look, there are going to be glaring differences. For those that have watched the trailer, seen some of the teasers, read stuff online, you'd know that there are kind of, marked differences from the comic books. But yeah, look, I am absolutely enjoying it. We're only 2 episodes in, and it really does establish a new character into the MCU. I think all of us were pretty much, while we were watching it, remarking at Oscar Isaac's performance. I think that is definitely a strong point. He is so, I guess, charismatic, and he does prop up. I mean, not to take anything away from the others, but he does prop up the show. At least episode 1, which he has to hold on his shoulders.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's just incredible. Incredible. Everything he does is so intentional, and it just works. It's a way we've not seen Oscar Isaac perform before, and we already knew he was a great actor and charismatic, and this is him.
Yeah, he's leveled up.
Yeah,
even more so. He already was a fantastic actor. Other than him being a little short,
I think he's perfect in every way.
I think everything he does makes up for his.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still physical. He's a very
yeah.
I mean, he's Moon Knight, man, and he really. I mean, so far, and of course I'm biased, but this has got to be the best MCU thing I have seen so far. Hands. So far, it really is. It's, I mean, and I know it's my bias seeping in through
Yeah,
it. But I try
it's
to
hard
take
to
myself,
talk about it without the bias, but yeah.
but when I try to take myself as much as I can, just the cinematography, it's very different, and I just like it doesn't feel even as much of some of the MCU stuff that I love. It falls into a formula still. When Winter Soldier came along,
I think because it's a character that isn't already in the MCU, so they're not relying on you knowing the character or the character or people around the character necessarily. And it does feel different. And I think a lot of it is the cinematography, the music, the humor.
The humor,
the humor is a different.
It's all a little bit different, and
it's hilarious, but it's so different from any. It's not Robert Downey Jr. It's not Spider-Man. It's not. It's its own thing, and there are some Loonies out there.
It's not Sam Cap. He's quite quippy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of Loonies that were like, well, they're going to make it funny, and Moon Knight is not funny. And it's like, well, read a comic. Sometimes Moon Knight is very funny, but it's like in a different, this isn't the way the comics have been so far funny.
Yeah.
But it's its own brand of humor. And people saw the article with Oscar Isaac talking about he wanted to take in a lot of British humor. There is a lot of real British humor in it. And
there is.
And I'm just happy to tell everyone that the accent is pretty good.
Yeah, the accent isn't
which was I
don't know what they did for that trailer, but like the accent is actually very good.
It was a sticking point, wasn't it? I mean, that was one of the things that even garnered an article with Oscar responding to his accent. But I mean, Rebecca, you're the best person, I guess, out of the three of us to let us know about the accent. It did sound pretty good.
Like seriously, everyone who listens to the podcast knows my reaction to it during the trailer. Like, was absolute like dread and horror. No, I actually think it's really good, and they've not just done that. They've actually got British language in there as well. So like his I think that's not really a spoiler. Just say they've managed to supplement the accent with the Britishisms, like things that we actually say, which helps. But the accent seems fine. It's like I don't know what happened with that trailer. They just like pick the most dramatically awful version of it or something like that. But
I guess it was something that we wouldn't expect. So that was what really kind of shocked us.
There was a little bit of that. I mean, I know I said that with subsequent trailers, I wasn't as surprised, so it didn't bother me as much. But even last week when people were talking about it on the Facebook page, I was like, it's really not a good accent. Like, whatever, you're all trying to defend it, but it's really not. But listening to it, like, for whole episodes, it's all right. Yeah.
Once he's in conversation, it just works.
And having other people like with British accents around him and stuff, and
So I mean, and so as well in articles as well, Oscar has spoken about how it's a big claim about how this is a real deep dive into character development. Since it's the best one since RDJ, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man. What are your thoughts on? Does he back it up with his performance? I mean, I know we have lauded his performance already, but like, for me, this,
I think
episodes 1 and 2
is flawless. So I don't.
But it really is like
as far as the character development, though. Yeah, I think it
focuses on it.
It's in a very different way, and to his acting, it's like RDJ kind of was just playing himself in a lot of ways, and Oscar Isaac is not. He is acting, and he's acting his ass off. And I
think he inhabits the character in the same way, but you're right. He's not relying on it being close to his own.
Yeah,
his own charm.
And so far, the character development. I would say it's definitely on par with Iron Man 1. Personally, there's more because there's more character.
There's more because you've got a TV. You've got we're going to have almost 6 hours of it.
Yeah.
So
and there's literally more characers to explore.
And you want to, so far, I mean, look, we're 2 episodes in. You missed it, Knol, after episode 1. I don't want to stop. Just don't want to stop.
Yeah, exactly. I know episode 1 just flew by, didn't it? I mean, it just like we were all going.
It was a shorter running time, but it felt shorter than that.
That's another thing I want to give props to is the actual storytelling. The way
editing.
It's cut together, the editing, but how they're unfolding the story is so engaging, and I think that's the difference from some of the other shows as well.
Yes, it feels sometimes like you're flipping a page.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
and
it's like, oh,
and I think
well,
that's the difference. Is that other MCU shows have become not samey because they're not. Like when you compare WandaVision and Loki and then Hawkeye, they're very different. But there's something about being in that world that makes them all a little bit the same, and also because you know the characters so well. And this is just such a breath of fresh air. Like we were literally giggling in some parts, like of just like of joy of like how like totally surprising some of it was. And you know, and you know, you take from that what you will, but like it was really pleasant to be surprised.
It sure was.
Oh no, absolutely as well. It's certainly I think they're certainly taking their time with I guess fleshing out this character, because he is like introduced into the MCU. You all know, and I know, and all the loonies out there know the history of Mark Spector and Stephen Grant and Moon Knight, but not necessarily everyone else does. So they're really kind of
in the way they're telling it too is making us want to know more. There's little bits where you're like, wait, what? Oh, now I want to know even more. So it makes us even more curious. Even as huge Moon Knight fans, we're just like, okay. How are they going to do that?
It feels like coming to it all over. Like it feels like reading it again for the first time. Like
yes,
it does.
I think that's a really good point as well. I mean, I think they use and again, it's no spoilers that Mark Spector has various identities, so they use that to great effect. With I found with the changing of the scenes, the keeping of the pacing of the episodes as well. It actually works. It benefits. I think the pacing for the show by actually having this mystery, but also having this extra facet of Stephen Grant or Mark Spector or Moon Knight.
That's what I was just going to say. With the mystery, it's nice as that obviously will play well with people who are new to the character, but even to us, like because of that, they're not. It's they're not just we're just doing Dick and Shirley where now is 1 through so we don't know exactly what it's coming. It keeps the mystery kind of. It's what's nice about changing things for the screen is it really does like we don't like we know exactly what's going to happen because we've read it before and that's something you have to do. Like I'm wondering what the Sandman on Netflix is going to be like. It's like I've read all this. Is it just cool to watch the visuals because I know the story or is it going to be boring because I know the story? So.
No, absolutely. And so I think again, Oscar does a great job with fleshing out into Mark Spector, into Stephen Grant, with the other actors as well that we know. Ethan Hawke and May Kalamaui are the main other ones as well. What did you guys think of their performance and their introduction into the show?
I mean, Ethan had me from the moment I saw him.
Yeah, me too.
Just like he's just so good. I
mean,
Rebecca
like, and I were commenting. It's like we're of the age where it's like it's either
we just can't help but love Ethan Hawke.
But
so seeing him like in the Arthur Harrow role is like it's interesting. But I still love him. Like I still was like, I'd follow you to the end of the earth. It's fine. Don't worry about me. I'm good. No, he's great. Another extremely charismatic lead man, Lil Male. And May is killing it. I mean, she's great.
She's really good, isn't she?
I mean, comes in and blows you away,
Yeah, I can't really talk about it much with her so far without spoiling some things, but it's not there yet for me.
Yeah, okay. But I think her performance is great.
Her performance is good. It isn't quite past the Bechdel test for me.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Fair.
We did a short assessment, I guess. Well, not assessment, like a background check. I don't know, or what you will of May Kalamaui would be. When we got the news that she was going to be part of it, she has been part of some like horror films. She's been in Raimi as well, Netflix TV show as well. So she's showing some good range. Yeah. I think she's well suited in this series.
Acting wise, I think she's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that this series does do and offer is that it does hop between genres, which is really. Yeah, which is really exciting. You have your everyday, you have your very kind of. I was again commenting to both you, Knol, and Rebecca about how my partner Eve, who's not a comic book fan, would actually find this intriguing about this character that Oscar Isaac plays, because it's very grounded. But then you have also the fantastical, and you have the horror, and you have all the things that we have kind of has been alluded to in the trailer, but we do see it here as well, and I think it works really, really well. I mean, I don't think there's it's too crowded with genre. I think it actually works really well. Similar, and I have to say, to what Kevin Feige said, similar to like Indiana Jones, which had a nice mix of action, drama, and then it had that really weird supernatural stuff towards the end. I think
the first movie had the supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
And a bit of kind of almost horror, not in the way that. Well, like having a bunch of bugs poured on you is very horrifying. But I know
I know. But the face melting in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That was purely horror. As well. Locations, music wise, I mean, we commented that there is a diverse range of music, which was really nice to hear.
The score is wonderful.
The score is fantastic. I felt during episode 1, I mean, the music was very prominent in setting the scenes for at least the first few scenes.
People forget that MCU has always used licensed music very, very well. I mean, like Guardians of the Galaxy, but even before that, I mean, Iron Man 1 had AC/DC, and that carried on as a theme.
There's some great needle drops in this.
Yeah, and like some of my favorite is like Ramones and Spider-Man. It's like you can't get better than
that was so
a
good.
Queen's band with a Queen's character.
Nice.
They've always had really good. So they're at least on par with that so far. But the score itself, I think, it's unique too. It's very unique. It doesn't sound as superhero-y. It is almost like a really fancy horror sort of. Like a well-paid horror orchestration or something.
Yeah. And also as well, again, sorry guys, I'm just bouncing around in my head because I've still, we've still got the episodes fresh in our mind. I'm thinking a callback to an article that we saw, Rebecca, as well recently, about how the rating has been changed for the show. What do you both think of how, I guess, the action and violence has been, or violence has been portrayed in this? Will Loonies be happy that we're getting, that we're getting a level of violence, or that this is very much a Disney kind of a Disney show? Do you think that people come across looking at it, watching it, going, "Oh, okay, they've toned it down for Moon Knight"? Will people be outraged
after 2 episodes? I would say it's pretty Disney.
Okay,
from my point of view, there's nothing to. I mean, Marvel, Disney, there's all the movies so far have had a lot of punching and, we're only 2 episodes in. There hasn't been enough to really show me. I mean, if nothing, I'm like, they're pulling their punches here. They're nothing like that. Nothing has just felt like, I mean, some people have a bloodlust out there for what they want the show to be. And I don't. So it's I think maybe some people will be slightly like, but we're only 2 episodes in, so I don't know.
There were a couple of scenes where we did either squirm, I know, from the horror, or squirm from the actual explicitness of some of the. I mean, again, I don't want to give too much away, but like, I think we did kind of squirm a little bit at some of the scenes, if only briefly. So, I don't know. I don't think it would be violent or R-rated enough for some people. There are factions out there that want to just see, full-on gore and, Saw or horror-related stuff. I don't think
hard to know. It's really hard to know. I don't think we're going to get Saw level. No. I mean, but it's really hard to tell because, I don't think that we can say too much about that.
There have been some reviews of people who've watched more than what we have who said, actually, literally, I think speaking of Saw, they're like, there's some things that almost actually feel like that.
Oh,
just
really?
Without the splatter.
Okay.
So we'll see where that goes.
A lot of implied stuff. Yeah, I mean, which Disney are good at doing. I mean, again, examples from The Mandalorian I think, and Falcon and Winter Soldier, there are implied violence. So that's
Mandalorian, we see an alien cut in half. It's not even implied. It's just it happens. So.
Well, that that's just an alien Knol.
Racist.
That's terrible. Exactly. Fantastic. I think the general vibe that we've had is that thumbs up so far.
Definitely,
very fun.
It's very fun.
It's fun. It makes it a little more fun watching with you guys. To be fair,
absolutely do, because we get to chat while we
we know we can be excited about the same. There are Easter eggs for the comics out there.
We're terrible. We're chatting we're not chatting the whole time. We're just gasping and pointing out things.
Like, oh, cool! Look at that. There's things there to be excited about as a Moon Knight fan for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, one question then as well. As not a Moon Knight fan, like, how do you think, put on a different lens, how do you think those that know nothing about Moon Knight going in, how do you think they will receive what they see in at least episodes 1 and 2? Because that's what we've seen. Will this draw people in? Will this confuse people? Because some of the social media reactions right now are just saying that it is bonkers, it's crazy, it's in a good way. Mm-hmm. But for the uninitiated, how do you think they will receive the show? I mean, is it too confusing?
I don't know. I'm so
I don't know.
So in the woods on this, it's just
too hard. I think it's hard for us to detach from it because we know it so well. I mean, I'd like to think that I hope people appreciate that it is a little bit different from the MCU that we've seen so far.
That's the thing.
I hope
I don't
people
think anybody
are
watching this hasn't watched a Marvel thing.
No, I hope people are intrigued by it. Whether they love it or not, I don't know, and how confusing it'll be, I don't know, because we can't really we can't take that out of us to know.
It's just
but I hope they enjoy watching Oscar.
It's fun in a different way than other MCU things, so I think that could possibly draw people in. I mean, my gauge will be my wife if she. I'm gonna put it on.
I mean, to be fair, it's pretty much the same for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that pretty much, I guess, sums up our thoughts, Loonies. Again, this is a brief little snippet as to what to expect come March 30th when.
Do we give it a grade?
Episode. Okay. Shall we give episodes 1 and 2?
Big yellow duck.
A big yellow duck.
I'll give it a big yellow duck, whatever that means. I'm fine. That's cool.
I'll give it a big yellow duck as well. It deserves 3 ducks.
A triple duck.
If you're a cricket fan, then that's not good. That's not good. But think anti-cricket. It's very cool. So it's very cool. Definitely worth checking out. It will be interesting to hear all your thoughts, Loonies, as well, because it is different. For those massive comic book readers, the long seasoned Moon Knight fans, compared to the newer ones as well, compared to the MCU fans, I think there'll be a vast array of opinions for this. But take it from us, the High Priest of Khonshu, Rebecca, and Ray, and Low Priest of Khonshu, Knol. These are 3 ducks, 3 yellow ducks. Right foot of Khonshu, the right testicle. We're very
okay.
Quite right.
Very happy so far. So so you have. I don't know, a lot of fun viewing ahead, Looney listeners. We'll get on to our other reviews for episodes 3 and 4. But in the meantime, we'll just head to a quick short break. Catch you soon.
Hello, I'm Alan.
I'm Rebecca.
And if you're listening to this, then we recommend that you check out our podcast, the DCAU Podcast, where we watch the original DC animated movies, starting from Batman Mask of Phantasm and continuing on to Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War, and beyond. And we will cover such heroes as Batman,
Superman,
the Batman,
Wonder Woman,
Victorian Steampunk Batman,
The Flash,
Batman Beyond,
Green Lantern,
Old Man Batman,
Martian Manhunter.
and plenty more versions of Batman.
Lots and lots and lots of Batman.
You can find the DCAU podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else that you can get podcasts by looking up the DCAU podcast and subscribe today.
From the time of his hatching, he was different. A potentially brilliant scholar who dreaded the structured environment of school. He educated himself in the streets, taking whatever work was available, formulating his philosophy of self from what he had learned of the world about him. And then the cosmic axis shifted, and that world changed. Suddenly he was stranded in a universe he could not fathom. Without warning, he became a strange fowl in an even stranger land. Welcome to the one, and for some reason only, podcast about Marvel Comics' greatest talking duck, Howard the Duck, trapped in a world he never made. Hosted by myself, Knol, who's loved Howard since he was a kid.
And me, Russell, who's not new to comics, but is new to Howard. We go through a couple issues from Howard's Marvel comic book history with some creator backgrounds, storied histories, and the weird world of 1970s comic books to today's. Get ducked up in a world he never made.
Trapped in a World, the Howard the Duck podcast.
Wow!
Proud members of the collective.
See this episode's show notes for our unique promo code to get up to 2 months of free podcasting service with Libsyn when you sign up for a new account. Get your show on Apple and Spotify, get helpful stats, and all the support you need to sound your very best.
Yes, welcome back, Looney listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 272, and you are back with fellow High Press of KHONSHU, Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca.
Hi.
And, of course, the right Velvet Drape, Knol. How are you, Knol?
Hello. I'm back.
And
We're back
in
from
that
break.
we are back from break. And in that short space of time, whilst you
A lot of
heard...
time passed.
Yes, some lovely words from our fellow collective members. Rebecca, Knol, and I have watched episodes 3 and 4, and we're here to discuss, spoiler-free, of course, what we thought of episodes 3 and 4 off the back of 1 and 2. I'm going to throw first to Knol. No, I mean, what did you make? What did you make?
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Spoiler free now. Spoiler free.
Free. What did you make of this? I mean,
It's a Moon Knight TV show, and Oscar Isaac is in it.
Yes.
Calloway. I can't remember her last name.
May Kalamaui, yeah.
She's in it. Yeah.
She's in it as well.
Ethan Hawke is in it.
He's in it as well.
He's great. All three are great.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm loving it. I don't even know if I can say like what episode moved me or anything. Or I don't know. I feel like it all.
How about, I mean, let's tread carefully here, Knol, as well.
I'm trying.
Acting
really
wise.
hard.
Yeah, acting wise, and let's just stick with that then. How do you find the acting?
We talked before the break that they were all wonderful.
Yeah.
That Oscar Isaacs really seems to be stealing the show, but it is his show, so fair enough.
He's very much stealing the show.
We probably can't talk about any of the wider cast, but they are also great. So
yeah,
everybody that's been on. There hasn't been anybody yet. Oh, I almost said a spoiler. There hasn't been anybody yet who is disappointed. I'll just say that everybody's. After 4 episodes, I am very excited. I think I just tweeted out that this still is perhaps like my favorite thing I have seen in the MCU, and I know I am biased because obviously I'm a huge Moon Knight fan.
It's very hard because we have literally all just been screaming.
Yeah, exactly. And on the scale of things, I mean, I'm a bigger Spider-Man fan than I am Moon Knight fan, right? Okay. I mean, it's just that's who was my first guy. But this is better than any Spider-Man thing I've ever seen. So
whoa.
But that being said, I like the comic books better.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
there's just we've had history with them. There's a linear process, even if sometimes Moon Knight is not very linear. It's at least a linear writing and timeline of comic books, and there's just like a history that we're attached to. And
you can get a lot more in in that kind of history. Like we know the character.
Mhm.
This is obviously a little bit different because it's
it's a remix, which I am totally down with the remix and stuff. It's just there's parts of it so far that don't hook me in the way some of the comics hook me.
Yeah,
and I don't know if I go too much further, it's going to end up going down a spoiler rabbit hole. So I will not go much further. Sure. I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Look, I mean, I just want to say as well. I mean, I think we had this conversation as well, Knol.
But I still love it.
I mean, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you and I, anyway. I mean, comics for me, the medium itself, I think I'll always be beholden to comic books. As much as I love the film and TV, I mean, comics just are great. They're so expansive, and there is a limit, a restraint, or constraint that films and TV's shows do have. So, yeah, no, totally understand that, Knol. Totally agree with you as well. But I'd like to say that, totally enjoyed this too. Rebecca,
it's so fun.
I mean, like, I think so what can I say that's not spoilery? Episode 3 for me was it's not a weak point, it was just the most like Marvel-y. And I don't mean like in any way except I can't say in what way. So episode 3 I found a little bit like it's still great. Like I love all the details, I love some of the comments, I love the characterization, acting, music, every point of it. So I guess if we're going to give anything away, if you feel a little bit downhearted by episode 3, episode 4,
don't worry.
Don't worry. Keep going.
Episode 4.
It's everything all the other non-spoiler. It's everything all the other non-spoilery comments of. Like, because I was, when they made this big deal about, episode 4, look, this, that, and the other, and you're like, it's always episode 4 in Marvel, blah, blah, blah. And, we've read the comics, nothing's going to get, nothing's going to get us. We're like, and.
No, but because of that, it gets us more.
The level of excitement, just ramped up. And,
like what I was saying about liking the comics more, there's just like there's been lots of different styles of Moon Knight comics, but there's a certain kind that I haven't quite seen yet this iteration. But there are other parts from his long history that they have mixed in very, very well and just feel fantastic.
I think, like with all the MCU shows, you tend to be able to tell why they gave why they gave however many episodes it was as the screener. So like I think with WandaVision they gave them everything until the sitcom started to fall apart.
Good point.
And with Loki they gave them some of them they only give them 2, some of them they give them 3, some of them they give them to 4, and you can definitely see why they gave till 4 here.
And also because it is a brand new character, we've seen everything from those other shows.
They need to introduce people to so many different facets of him.
Hype.
And
you give them a lot, and the press are going to give it hype. So
I cannot wait to be able to discuss it with people.
Oh, I'm losing
it's going to be very hard. Like I know, we should never complain about the opportunity we just got.
No,
but it is going to be really hard to talk episode by episode and be really careful. So for the first time ever, I made notes. I'm not going to just show you the front of the notebook because anything else might be spoilery. For the first time in my life doing a podcast, I have made notes. Nobody tell Alan, just so that we can be very precise about what happened in what episode. So,
there is so much to unpack, Rebecca. I mean, listeners will be looking. I mean, although we've had the massive privilege of watching episodes 1 to 4, we'll be looking at episodes 1 through to 4 again when it drops, and we'll be pouring through it. I mean, we've been trying to. Rebecca has been kindly the scribe to.
On that point, we'll have a lot of help from all the other Loonies as well.
Absolutely,
I'm sure.
Absolutely. And I want to point out as well, just because I'm just like floored by it as well. So we just saw episode 4. It was unfinished as well, so there may be a few more surprises. We don't know. We did pick up a few, things in post-production that they still have to tidy up. So it was exciting to see. For the most part, it was about, I think about 90% done. But so we got this early version, but 3 and 4, I really can't say much more because we're just kind of overflowing with, as Rebecca said, we're all kind of screaming on the inside. I think we are.
Some of us screamed on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, but then I did an episode 2 as well, so that's,
so
a lot of screaming going on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've just got to say, I mean, it's fair to say that so far this series has been quite surprising and exciting at the same time, and it doesn't fail to surprise us. Being all three of us being longtime Moon Knight fans, it still has not or has managed to surprise us. So it's something that's definitely worth sticking with. Can we talk about pacing then? How did you find over issues, or not issues, episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4? How are you finding it at the moment? I mean, I know we had a little bit of a chat about that before we.
Yeah, episode 1 flew by. It was paced so well. Everything about it the editing and everything felt really well. I feel past that. Some things could be tightened up.
Okay, fair enough.
I know they put their all into episode 1 with a lot of shows, like if it would be a pilot or however the format of the TV show would be.
It feels so short, and it's not. It's just
bang, it's great, and I feel like it loosens up after that, for better for worse. I don't know if there's one moment that I was saying before we went live that I thought was for worse. It doesn't ruin anything. It's just like, no, that could have been, like half of my brain is artist and the other half is editor. So it's like, even when I'm watching things I love, my wife will be like, I'll be like, they could have cut that. And she's like, just shut up and enjoy it, man.
Just enjoy the ride, man.
I don't know. Sometimes I want to tell people how to make their art better. So, so there are some things like that, but all movies and TV shows have that. It's a choice on how they want to make things land, and things will land differently for different people. But every shot looks amazing, though.
Oh my god!
Just from a directing and
locations to set design.
Wow,
the music's beautiful.
It's quite. Yeah, it's quite flawless in that regard. And again, as we said in the first 2 episodes, this really does look like a departure from a lot of the other MCU. I mean, it's similar maybe in the sense that WandaVision was the same. It was such a different kind of format. This is very much the same thing as well. I think Marvel's done it again. They've kind of created something new. They're working with a character,
but it's mixing in old things.
Absolutely.
It's not a spoiler to say there's a lot of sort of Indiana Jones feeling to it, because they've put that out very much, and it's very much there on the sleeve. But there are some things that are very much new to anything MCU.
Absolutely.
And there's some things I feel very, very Marvel-y in some
very
ways.
familiar with. For sure.
It's almost like they did a really good job of blending all the different creative minds, but you can still be like, there's Kevin Feige. I know that shit. He's like, put that in. See Deb like, no, I want to have this handheld shot that looks really cool. It's like, oh yeah, because I've seen your work. I know exactly where that's coming from. Oscar Isaac was improving or playing with something. You can just feel it all, but it's mixed in and produced so well.
Yes. Can I really tread this line with you?
Yes.
Please stop me if you think I am stepping the line, but I'm going to try to keep it as vague as possible. But you mentioned, Knol, about the link to the comic book reference, the comic book and the references
Watch it.
Yeah, I don't think we can.
Okay. Just think. No, because look, it's obvious that it's going to be there in some capacity. That's all I'm saying. So
taken from a comic book.
Yeah, exactly. So how do we feel about it so far? Is that too far? No.
Feel about the comic book?
About how
I love the comics.
How
Comics
is
are
it
great.
adaptation of the
The only
comic?
thing I don't ever like is whatever Chuck Dixon wrote. Other than that, I love all the comics. They're great.
Okay, fair enough.
We will discuss that episode by episode.
Yeah,
exactly.
We'll get into that. The references and all that stuff. We'll just save our
okay.
Because I'm sure the three of us have a lot to say about that.
We do.
Everybody out there is going to have a lot to say about that. So.
Exactly. And listeners, by the time you hear this, you're only one night or one day away from the very first episode. So not too long to wait.
And if you don't love it, shut up. We don't want to hear it.
But I guess it's safe to say that, I mean, we are enjoying it. So it's been a big tick for me from the MCU, and having something that it's hard because we are big fans, so it's hard to kind of separate that bias that we have for being Moon Knight fans to being an objective comic book fan viewer or even a non-comic book fan viewer.
The three of us, at least, and I think and a lot of Loonies are very open-minded about these. There are some people that already even be in the group that are like, they're going to hate it no matter what.
Yeah,
they've just decided that they're going to not like it, and that's cool. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. So we're biased because we do love Moon Knight, but we're not stupid that we love it. There could be a bad interpretation of this. There could be a real bad one, and it's not. It's great. It's just different. And it has to be different.
It needs to be visual in a different way than the comic.
But I think it's safe to say though that what everyone kind of has been saying, I guess, online is, I mean, the spirit is there. I mean, that's what everyone wants, right? They, the argument is that something's very accurate. If you look at like Daredevil and Netflix, mostly. I mean, you can really nitpick it and say, well, is it totally accurate? But I'm thinking of all the MCU or superheroes on screen. Daredevil seems to be kind of adhering to the comic book more so than others, more than, say, the Hulk, for instance.
I think also like Daredevil hasn't had as many retcons and changes, and
that's the thing with Moon Knight.
So I think it's easier to be to not. I'm trying to say without swearing. I think it's easier to not annoy people when you're doing that sort of adaptation, and you're not relying on as much effects, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, so the spirit of Moon Knight is very much, and please don't read too much. I'm saying basically on the level it is like you will see Moon Knight on screen. You'll be going, yep, this is the stuff that I have been been following and reading. So but there are little things.
There was that one review that we all kind of pointed out when the initial reviews came out, and it said fans of the comic may not like. I don't necessarily agree with that. He should have maybe said fans who wanted to see the exact thing you've already read in the comic books put on screen, which they never actually really do.
They've never done it for anyone.
I think honestly, from the trailers, you can already tell. Exactly. I was sort of about to say, like with the whole symbiotic, the hugging, as Rebecca said, of the suit was a massive departure from and which I found very hard to swallow at first. But I've since embraced that. I thought that just let's see what happens. So I mean, just there are things like that as well. So. Very, very strong series. I would, and again, might be a bit of bias from being a fan, but I would rate this as similar with Knol, up there with probably one of my favorite TV shows at the moment.
Oh, I think so. I mean, it's hard. I feel like I'm biased to say it because of the recency bias, but I love it.
They're true with that as well. Oh, it's. And again, as we say, and we can't. I mean, we're repeating it a lot, but that's only because we can't really spoil anything. But it's the music and the locations, the acting, the directing, all that sort of stuff really does. You have a look at it, and even
all
if
the
you're
basic things that go into making a TV or a film, were done very well.
Even if you are a Moon Knight fan, just try to detach yourself and just watch it for what it is. production wise and quality wise, and you will be like, amazed. I mean, Disney Plus and the MCU TV shows, they've got massive budgets. I'm assuming
and you can feel it,
others, and you can see it. Yeah, exactly. So, just marvel at that.
But something about it, the difference is that there's parts that do feel sort of homemade in a great way, and which make it feel sort of different. It's not them faking a YouTube video that Spider-Man does in a hotel room or whatever. It feels actually kind of homemade in a cool way sometimes, even though it's big and gorgeous and expansive and effects driven and all that, but it can also feel very kind of down and dirty. And that's one of the things why I think they wanted to get the main director on board, is he has that great feel of making things feel very kind of in your face or jaggedy or anything like that. It's like, it's great.
Yep. So I guess final thoughts. I just want to, I've just come up with this now, so I'm just going to throw it both to you. Rebecca first. Say for instance, you've got a friend who does not like comics, and I'm going to go the other route. Okay, so we've talked about other fellow comic fans, and we are comic fans, so we know that realm. Say that you have a friend that is not a comic book fan.
Why would I? But yes, I'll try and imagine that.
Okay.
try and imagine that strange scenario.
A strange scenario. And no, but you're wanting to pitch this TV show to them. How would you describe it in, I don't know, a few sentences or less? I mean, how would you best sum up this to them? And the character and the TV show.
I'd say you don't need to know anything else about Marvel. Like, number one. Number two, it does have that Indiana Jonesy vibe. That it's matching up sort of Egypt stuff with Man on the Street and Oscar Isaac. Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke.
Hawke, yeah.
I mean, honestly, the cast would always sell it to me for and it's not only, I mean, it's a little bit being a bit funny about it, but also saves me from doing anything spoilery. But I think the quality of the cast actually sell it.
I agree.
For somebody who's not seen anything else, because they know the quality of work these guys have put out. So I don't think, and almost to say you're almost better going in not knowing anything and see what you make of it. Like, you don't need to read a comic to understand it. You don't, and that's, I think that would be the selling point for me. It's a really well put together, unusual TV show. Yeah,
my pitch would be, it's an unusual action adventure superhero show.
Excellent. Knol, as well, the litmus test is how would Laura?
She would just call me a fucking nerd and maybe go in the other
ask
room.
for your money.
Shake her head and walk back away.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't know. I think because I don't have to pitch it to her, because I'd have to pitch. She knows my obsession with Moon Knight. That's not a thing. But if I'm going to pitch somebody on the street, I would just say it's like, it's a Marvel property, and it's one of the weirder comic books, and they're making a action adventure out of one of the strange Marvel comic books. So it's cool. Check it out.
Yep. Yeah, excellent as well. I mean, I see Laura akin to Eve as well, in the fact that she doesn't read comic books. She thinks it's rather cute that I do this thing called podcasting and I read and collect comics, but she doesn't really.
Laura says, "Aren't you getting paid for this? You're doing this for fun."
Yeah, exactly. Why are you spending so much time on it? Yeah,
that's a lot of money on those Howard the Duck comic books there, pal.
Yeah, exactly. Another stack? What's going on?
Yeah, well, these are actually cheaper than others.
But
and she does read comics, though, my wife.
she does as well.
Just not superhero comics.
Yeah, I mean, but I think for someone like Eve, who I want to really take in and come this Wednesday, watch it as well. I think she will. I mean, regardless of pitch, again, she knows the craziness that I like Moon Knight and all that, and she knows it's a superhero thingy. I think, regardless of that, I think she will really enjoy the character and the more human moments of it, especially
we get a lot of that.
We do get a lot of that as well. Not only between Oscar and interacting with the rest of the cast, like himself and May Kalamaui, but Oscar and himself. Basically, there's a lot of really, really cool moments.
It's not a spoiler to say he has DID.
Yeah, no, it's not exactly. It's not a spoiler at all. So I think that the likes of Eve will really enjoy that sort of stuff. And of course, there is some action and superhero moments, of course. I mean, we're in the comic book universe, but I think there's enough of that other stuff to really kind of for others to latch onto and go, oh, this is actually a pretty cool show. It's not just someone in the cape,
Yeah,
So,
in the same way that WandaVision was able to. I mean, like I said, my wife watched,
yes,
and it seemed to at least tolerate it. Up until it got very superhero-y, so
yes.
And we're only 4 episodes in, but there's a lot to tolerate in this so far, I would say.
Yeah. Yes. Rebecca as well.
Well,
I mean, any other final thoughts? A bit. I mean, Zoe is more amenable, I think, to comic book.
A little bit. Up and down.
Up and down?
Sometimes, yeah. It depends it depends at the point where she thinks it gets stupid. You know what I mean? It's like
that sounds like Ethan Laura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain tolerance, or I think she'd know not to say. I think she's gonna like it. I think I think there'll be ups and downs.
Yep.
But yeah, I think she's gonna like it.
There you go, Loonies. An impromptu what the partners would think.
Ozzy loved it.
Ozzy loved it.
Loves it. He has joined us for almost every viewing.
Yes.
Well, he almost like with the cuddles for you, Rebecca. Almost
he tried eating the mic at one point. When you heard me say stop eating it, it was the mic.
And actually, when you said that, it was very appropriate for the actual scene as well. But anyway, we'll just give it at that. So I guess, with that, Looney listeners, we can't really say much more. You can kind of hear our enthusiasm for it. So please, not that you're not going to watch it already, but as far as this spoiler-free discussion goes for episodes 1 to 4, it is a hell of a ride. It's going to be something that you're just going to be watching with bated breath. And there are moments like Rebecca and Knol and myself where we just go, whoa, okay, that's crazy. So just rest assured that it's going to be a wild ride. But Rebecca and Knol, any other last words before we sign off on this one?
No, I really just can't wait. And once you'll watch it, please send us feedback.
Yes, please. We'd love to hear thoughts. And I am a little mad I have to wait. I know I'm talking out of a place of privilege here.
Yeah.
But now, from that point of privilege, I have to wait so long to see episode 5. So long. It's so many weeks away. I could be dead by then, man. I don't know. Send me the rest.
Look, if you are, I'm sure KHONSHU will resurrect you.
Yes.
So, yeah. So one thing I don't like about the swing back in the streaming services between the binge and the non-binge. It's sometimes I love it, and sometimes I'm like, just give it to me.
Yeah. I'm going to be reliving the episodes 1 through to 4 again as well. It's not like we've been watching it ad nauseum. We've just kind of viewed it, and off we've gone.
Not like I have it.
So
we only watched one episode twice. That's because we were very tired when we watched it the first.
Yes, it was almost 2 a.m. But looking, exactly. Just really excited for it. Looking forward to the episodes that come ahead. Listeners, thank you so much for listening. As we mentioned, it's going to be, I think, the next day. So at the moment that this drops, I might just drop this for Patreons and general release straight away because of the short turnaround. So it's the day before you get to watch episode 1. Hope you enjoyed. Please send in your feedback, and we will be back, of course, for reviewing every single episode, kind of as it drops. So get in your feedback, quick sticks. It'll be really fun to hear from you. And we've got some notes. Actually, i.e., Rebecca's got some notes. So just enjoy it, and always interesting to hear another perspective. But thanks, Rebecca. Thank you, Knol.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. And Loonies, get ready for it. But before then, may KHONSHU watch over the denizens of the night.
Bye.
See you later.
Goodbye.
Please consider checking out our Into the Night Patreon page on patreon.com/ITKMoonNight. There are plenty of incentives there, like uncut material, bonus episodes, and more, and any contribution will help expand the show. We're sponsored by Fringe Night by Daniel Doing, and you can support his Patreon page at patreon.com/FringeNight27. Also, Tombs by Drew Tombs can be supported via his SoundCloud website on soundcloud.com/tombs with a Z. Drew Tombs also produces horror and sci-fi based music on Lurk Music. That's Lurk Music with a CK. And you can support his music on Bandcamp at lurkmusic.bandcamp.com. We're also sponsored by Dreamland Comics, the superhero superstore. Use the code MOON to get a promo of 20% off any online back issues. Finally, we're part of The Collective, which is an informal network of like-minded podcasters. It's a repository of ideas, and we also like crossing over and supporting each other. Please check out all of these shows in our show notes under The Collective. Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Material used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information, or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.